Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Today we are having a little spoiler talk on the latest Dawn of Fire novel Hand of Abaddon, and a little speculation on where it could all be heading. Obviously, considering we're talking spoilers here, a spoiler warning to begin. And as always, I really recommend you read the stories for yourself first, without spoilers, because that's the best way to enjoy the lore for yourself. But with that out the way, let's waste no time and just jump straight in. Okay, so Hand of Abaddon is a bit of a different feeling installment of the Dawn of Fire series for me. Feeling like the Indomitus Crusade is far more secondary here to the Hand of Abaddon schemes. And so it feels quite different to me to the earlier installments of the series. I'm not going to go into all the real minute detail here, as I really want to discuss the aftermath of where it could all be going. However, to summarise the main developments of what takes place, there's a lot of continuation of formerly seen characters. Yeng the recruited Chaos Sorcerer, Kesh the Mordian Sergeant, Inquisitor Rostov and his retinue, Herek's Red Corsairs, Serenial the Sister of Silence, and really there's a few more too. So it's definitely one where it makes so much more sense if you have been keeping up with the series. Now here, it is revealed well and truly, the Hand of Abaddon is not a single individual, but instead a group of 8. 8 corrupted individuals who have come together to acquire the 8 shards of the broken anatheme, the ancient blade that was used against Horus Lupercal on Davin, and was then split into shards. The Hand's purpose is to reforge this ancient blade, a god-killing blade. It begins with Inquisitor Rostov returning to Terra, researching through its ancient libraries and establishing that the Hand is indeed seeking to reforge the anatheme. And though not knowing the true purpose, he of course realises it is integral they do not achieve their goal. And we get a nice little appearance of Inquisitor Greyfax here too, as Rostov reports into her and requests her support. We get our first sighting of the Leagues of Votann here within a novel too, with the Omrigar kindred, working alongside a rogue trader, busy fending off a Chaos Cultist assault, which of course inevitably leads them down the path of the Hand of Abaddon. Now, Rostov's quest ultimately leads him to the Votann conflict against Chaos, where he aids them and ends up forging a tentative alliance with them. Across the galaxy, a force of Ultramarines becomes aware of the threat of the reforged anatheme, thanks to a vision of their librarian, and thus they begin to head off to face this rising threat, without truly knowing what they are going to face. And as ever is the way of Chaos, the Council of the Hand start to betray and turn against each other. And it's revealed that their base of operations is a Blackstone fortress. With the Votann ultimately discovering the fortress, it all eventually leads to all the various Imperial factions and characters assaulting the Blackstone fortress under Inquisitor Rostov's command, followed by the League of Votann in support, who arrive to aid their Imperial allies. All the while this is transpiring, the shards of the anatheme are being reforged. The Imperials are too late, thanks to Herek and his Red Corsairs, who have taken the shards to a warsmith of Vashtor the Archifane. Herek chooses to have the shards forged into a sword, which he names Colour, C-U-L-L-E-R. And it's described as having a hilt of cursed iron, a black sapphire pommel, unbreakable, and forged with Neverborn ichor. It is undoubtedly a weapon to slay a god. However, as soon as Herrick has the sword in hand, he's stabbed in the back by the sorcerer Yang, having betrayed the hand Tenebrous to ally herself with the hand of Abaddon known as Augury, and the two of them depart with the blade. And so, all in all, it ends with the Imperials defeating the Blackstone Fortress, along with a couple of members of the Hand Council, but they have missed out on their true goal of acquiring the Anaphane. Sergeant Kesh is anointed as a living saint after another appearance of the Emperor's power during the battle. Inquisitor Rostov gives over the fortress to the Votan as a thank you, and the Anaphane has now been forged into a sword, and is in the possession of the Sorcerer Yang and the hand known as Augury, and only 3 others of the Hand of Abaddon Council remain alive, seeking to get their revenge on Yang and Augury, with Tenebrous dying amid the fortress. It may sound like it had a lot of things going on in this one, and I would agree with that, because that's definitely how it read too. Every chapter a different character's story. However, by the end, as I stated, it really all boils down to the fact that the blade has been reforged, and that it's in Yang's possession, and the Imperials were quite simply too late. So, where is it going to go? Chaos now has a god killer within their grasp, though we don't truly know what Augury's real intention may be. I think the logical conclusion is that this colour blade is going to be used upon the much rumoured Starchild, to prevent the Emperor from being reborn, as it were, or at least attempted to be used. Because we know the Starchild narrative has returned to the mainstream lore. Indeed, it was within the Dawn of Fire series itself that it was reintroduced. So I think that is by far and away the most logical conclusion to go with. And of course, Erebus's involvement earlier in the series really pointed in that direction. But of course there are other possibilities too. Perhaps the intent is for it to be used against the Emperor himself. Though his physical body is a nigh-on corpse, he is obviously a perpetual. In fact, the most powerful perpetual ever, by magnitudes. There's a good chance Abaddon would need a reforged Anaphane to kill him permanently, ensuring no future rebirth. And so, who knows? That could very well be the reason Abaddon didn't press straight for Terra after Cadia's fall, because he wanted to ensure he could truly end the Emperor, and the Anaphane would do that. Abaddon's not a fool. He was there by Horus's side from the very beginning. He saw the Emperor's greatness firsthand, and he saw his father's mistakes. He will only press for Terra when he knows victory can be truly achieved. And with the colour, the Anaphane, it can be. Because let's not forget, unlike Horus, Abaddon has always refused the Chaos God's power, and so he would need the Anaphane to truly destroy the Emperor. Now, I will say Abaddon's demon sword Drachnien could hurt the Emperor, as we saw within the novel Master of Mankind, before Drachnien became imprisoned within the blade. However, that doesn't necessarily rule out the Emperor's rebirth, like the Anaphane you would expect would. So I don't think the presence of Drachnien rules out Abaddon wanting to reacquire the colour sword, the Anaphane. But who knows? There could be a major twist in the works. Abaddon deceiving even the ruinous powers, wanting to remove all gods from the galaxy. Even them. But I do find that very unlikely, as I don't even know where he'd begin to take them out. To stab the gods with the blade, you've got to get to them, which is no easy feat. Taking out the traitor Primarchs are an option. Removing them would all but guarantee Abaddon universal rule over all the traitor legions. But again, I find that unlikely too. I don't think he really needs it. And more often than not, he has the other legion support anyway. So he doesn't really need to worry about the traitor Primarchs at all. However, on the Primarch note, the reforged blade does become a concern for, say, Rabute Guilliman. Though technically he could be killed by any weapon, as he is most certainly not a perpetual. We did see the Emperor seemingly revive him at the end of the Dark Imperium Godblight novel. I doubt even the God Emperor would be able to do that if the anatheme had been used. However, again to me, this is all mostly pure speculation and wild fan theory. The reforged blade is surely to be used against the Star Child, as hinted throughout the series. Now, it was interesting to see a mention of Vashtor in this one, even if only in regards to reforging the blade. It does make me think if he could be in for an appearance in the mainline novels soon, maybe in the next Dawn of Fire installment. But lastly, I've got to say, I have never come across so many references to Horus in a novel since the Horus Heresy series itself, or at least the Black Legion series. Every time the shards of the anatheme were mentioned, Horus Lupercal was mentioned too. And I know he's as dead as anyone can ever be in the lore, but I've got to be honest, it did make me wonder if this is just the beginning of him being reintroduced, or introduced as it were, to the current lore in a way. No, not necessarily a physical return, because again we know he's as dead as anyone can ever be, but just with his name becoming far more commonplace. A bit like how Ferrus and Sanguinius's names are still pretty common within the current lore, despite their deaths. Of course, a blade so importantly tied to Horus could maybe be used to bring him back to life. I mean, he was stabbed by it on Davin, and then a shard of it was used by the Emperor to kill him. So in a universe clearly wanting to bring back Primarchs, who knows? But again, I will say it's highly, highly, highly unlikely Horus would ever get a physical return. Not only is his death iconic, integral to everything about the heresy, but I just don't know how it would work within the current 40k era anyway. This is very much Abaddon's realm, and Horus would immediately overshadow him. There's no way Horus Lupercal could come back and not overshadow Abaddon. And Abaddon has proven to be very much the poster boy of chaos within 40k. I don't see that ever changing. But still, I do think his name may appear a little bit more often now than it used to. But all in all, that's it. The anatheme now reforged and well under Chaos's control, though what that control may be remains to be seen. Like me, do you think this is surely building to a culmination with the Star Child? Or do you perhaps think the blade is for another use? The Emperor himself upon the throne, perhaps? Or other demigods out there within the galaxy? If so, which ones? Could it even somehow be used against the ruinous powers? What do you think Abaddon's ultimate goal truly is? And could this be the beginning of Horus Lupercal's name becoming a bit more commonly seen within the current 40k era? A return of sorts for the fallen War Master, as much as he ever could. As always everyone, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Huge thank you to all my subscribers, your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. If you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.